It's a top selector.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
I know you're gonna dig this.
The Maestro.
Fist hits the bag, 1, 2, and comes back. Single fist here. You hear that beat?
Think outside the box, and VOXing on top of them, clocking them, sending back to the corner for oxygen.
Yes.
Golden gloves, I know
Just
myself,
rolling.
I know the game, it's not a game, I know the ring, I want the belt. Finding the rhythm to hit them, split them and touch them and tip them, hit that six-pack with that good jab. Uppercut the bro, making them fall down, breaking them all down, switch stands, tippy toe, in the hands, give some more. You are not Muhammad Ali, anomaly, a Mayweather, Pacquiao, prodigy in the midst of fist to this, just S2, hot to rock, think out the box, you know I got the rock, speed back.
That would be a little round.
Gorilla than the planet of the apes. I write a punchline and plant it on your face. Eat a punch that you ain't even gotta taste. Here's a shot that you ain't even gotta chase.
I've got the screen up there, by the way, and I hope all you could hear me. Welcome to Cooking with Maestro, aka Punchlines. I'm back. I've got a new setup here. I'm going to be trying it out. All right. I've now set up 2 studios. All right, because I spend my weekends outside of New York City a lot of the times, and I set up a studio out there. I took all my equipment over there. So this is a new studio back in the Bronx where I usually reside, especially Monday to Friday, because I teach and work over here. So here we go. Cooking with Maestro, aka Punchlines. And before I get started, let me set a couple things up here. All right. We've got Chauncey Pearls up in the building. Thank you so much, Chauncey. I'm glad things sound nice and clear. Major Key Boxing, salute to you, brother man. And of course, Chauncey Pearls again. Thank you so much for joining. Look, I got to say it. And before I get started, all right, I got to get started with this. If you are a huge AJ fan and can't take criticism of AJ, you're going to get triggered tonight. You're going to get triggered tonight. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because on this edition of Cooking with Maestro, we're going to get right into it. Is it over for the AJ situation? The it factor? The main man in the division of boxing? The heavyweight division? Is it still AJ? I would argue that it's not. Now, news dropped. You know, I can't always jump on things as soon as I want to because guess what? I'm a public school teacher. Guess what? I'm working 9 to 5. Guess what? I'm busy during the day. But I had to come on tonight to talk about this. And salute Major Key Boxing. I said that earlier. And salute Modern King Boxing. That's my guy out there. Big up Modern King. Big up Modern King. All right. He's out there in the UK. I'm actually here in New York City where it's kind of unseasonably hot. We're actually going to hit, I think, an all-time high tomorrow in terms of temperatures. Some record hasn't been broken since, a while. All right. So it's January and I'm actually kind of cooking myself over here. But anyways, so Modern King says, I'm a decent AJ fan, and the answer is no. Well, I would actually argue that the answer is yes. And I'll tell you why. Now, I've been accused of being a quote unquote AJ hater, and there's fans of like a couple fighters in particular that really get on my case about like quote unquote hating. One of them is Teofimo Lopez, his fans. All right. And I brought out Don Odio in the past when I was critical of Teofimo. And we've got AJ fans who they can't take it. All right. So you got Don Odio, the king of the Teofimo Lopez fan club. Apparently his guys come out. And then on the AJ side, we've got a guy that I call LeVar. LeVar comes out, right? And LeVar gets right into it when I start criticizing AJ. Oh, Maestro, don't do it. How dare you criticize AJ? I love AJ. AJ can do no wrong. How dare you say he's not the number one guy in the sport? Yeah, LeVar, chill, relax. LeVar, you can chill, you can relax, LeVar. AJ's still a great guy. Okay. AJ's still, Eddie Hearn's biggest name other than Canelo, right? I just don't think that right now he's moving like he's going to be a meaningful player in the game. It's that simple. All right. It's literally that simple, guys. It's not that complicated. All right. AJ right now, I mean, it was released over Twitter. I mean, it was said by Eddie Hearn himself. This is the plan. Number 1, top 15 opponent. Number 2, Dillian White. And number 3, Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. I'm sorry, guys. But, I said it on Monday Night Smoke. Shout out to KG and Trav. Those are my guys at the Undefeated podcast. Big up to them. They didn't do a show this week. And neither did my guys Tony P and Base the Kid. They usually do the breakdown. Big up to them. But a lot of people over there in the UK were very critical when I said that Eddie Hearn was going to be televising, along with DAZN, the comeback of AJ against lower tier competition, right? Lower tier. And I still stand by that. Because you know what? When you look at what it means for AJ to be facing a quote unquote top 15 opponent, guys, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? We're not talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because if that was the case, they would say he's facing a top 5 opponent. We're not talking about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because if that was the case, he'd be taking on the top 10 opponent. So when I hear AJ's next fight is going to be against a top 15 quote unquote opponent, what we're talking about realistically, guys, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Anybody who follows boxing even reasonably closely knows that that's what top 15 means. Salute Chicano Prophet, okay? Salute Tony Boswell. Salute Philly Drew Irish. Salute everybody in the chat. All right, this is an uncommon time for me, guys, but I wanted to come on to talk about this. All right, so Modern King says, AJ is being realistic. First fight top 15. Sounds like it's a good payday for the first opponent. What's the point of this? So essentially what it sounds like, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But doesn't it sound like what they're really saying is that AJ needs a tune-up to fight Dillian White? Dillian White, right? The same Dillian White that we saw essentially go life and death with Jermaine Franklin, who, by the way, I live in the United States, in the Bronx, New York. Shout out to the Boogie Down. All right. But very few people in the United States rated Jermaine Franklin at all. And I would dare to say very few people continue to rate Jermaine Franklin at all. So the tune-up for this guy, Dillian White, is who? And also, why does he need a tune-up to fight a guy like Dillian White? So again, Eddie Hearn's come out. He said that they're going to have him against a top 15 level opponent. Top 15. Again, that doesn't mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't mean 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It means 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So what's the deal? What's the deal, guys? You're telling me that AJ, the premier player in the sport, the premier player in the heavyweight division, okay, a guy who we are supposed to believe was seriously considering taking on Tyson Fury last September, right? Apparently needs a tune-up to fight Dillian White. Now, if you look at AJ's last few fights, I mean, what are we talking about, guys? His last 5 fights, he's won how many of them? How many has he lost? How many knockouts does he have? Well, let's look at it. His last 2 fights were losses, decisions to Alexander Usyk, right? Prior to that, he had a win against a 40-plus-year-old. Let me drop the link for Philly Drew. A 40-plus-year-old Pulev. Prior to that, he beat overweight, career high weight Andy Ruiz. And prior to that, he got knocked the fuck out by Andy Ruiz at Madison Square Garden. Oh, Maestro, don't say that. He didn't get knocked out. It was a technical stoppage. How dare you, Maestro? Don't say it, Maestro. LeVar, chill. It's cool. Referee stops contest, TKO, KO. He got stopped. That's the reality of the situation. So I'm looking at those 5 fights, and what am I seeing? I'm seeing a guy who, let's face facts, he's not ready right now. And he's admitting to not being ready. I mean, he's talking about taking a tune-up to fight Dillian White. Come on. Billy Drew, what am I saying that's so wrong right now?
You know, the main issue is, man, like, they were branding Anthony Joshua as a guy that will fight anybody from top 5, top 10, and always fights his mandatories, and said that AJ has the best resume by far out of all the heavyweights. Now it's like, oh, we got to match him up against a top 15 opponent. We need to get him a tune-up for Dillian White. Here's the thing. Dillian White was gifted a decision against Franklin. I thought he lost that fight. And he clearly lost that fight. And, like, I think they're trying to boost AJ's confidence. But here's the thing. AJ really needs to fight somebody that's top 10. To me, maybe, and, you know, Eddie Hearn has 2 fighters that can fight AJ right now. That would be good fights. Zhang and Phil Purgative.
Well, we already know he's not fighting Hrgovic because Hrgovic isn't top 15. We know what top 15 means. Hrgovic is ranked number 1. That's not, when people say top 15, do they mean the number 1 guy, Philly Drew, or do they mean 11, 12, 13, 14, 15?
Well, I'm going by overall heavyweight rankings, in pound, not in section and body, but like.
Well, you already, but that's what you're going by. We got to go by what Eddie's going by, because it's Eddie who's making a statement. Then I'm going to bring Jimmy in. Go for it, Philly.
It's like this. He wants to fight a top 15 fighter. That means you're fighting a tune-up. That means you're fighting a tune-up after your last couple fights. You lost to Alexander Usyk. Clearly, I thought you lost 9 rounds each of those 2 fights you fought Usyk in, and you fought a 40-year-old Kupek Pulev that lost to Darius Sissoko, and you had a problem when you had a trouble with him at first, and he got knocked out at Madison Square Garden. Yeah, against what was it, a 20-1 last-minute replacement underdog? Yeah, and then he really and then he got hurt against Povetkin, a 40-year-old guy that caused him problems, and that knocked out Dillian White and everything. Like, here's the thing. Dillian White to me is a gatekeeper. So you need a tune-up for a gatekeeper now? And then the UK fans are trying to bring that AJ's this, AJ's that, and try to disrespect Tyson Fury. But now, what are the UK fans going to say about it now? That AJ has to go with a tune-up to fight Dillian White. We're seeing it right now. I'll read it to you. That we got a big AJ fan who... I'm a big fan of this dude, by the way, Modern King Boxing. Salute to Modern King. You got to check out what Modern King Boxing's doing. Modern King's got some great videos up right now. Great gold gem diamond videos with Dominic Ingle. Great stuff. Let me just read it and then write to you, Jimmy. So Modern King says AJ losses didn't hurt him having fans. I think even though Usyk outboxed AJ, he didn't outpride the UK top heavyweight in the world. Jimmy, go for it.
Well, as a British boxing fan, Look, my thing is this though, bro. I feel like it's all about context, right? So when Tyson Fury was fighting Tom Schwartz and Butterbean and these guys, and this was after most people thought he beat Deontay Wilder in the first fight. A lot of fans didn't have a problem with it. When he just fought Derek Chisora in the trilogy, that everyone begged him not to fight him. No one had a problem. Wilder fought Hellenius in his comeback fight, a guy that Dylan White beat the shit out of about 10 years ago. There was no complaints. You know, Canelo fought Yildirim, no complaints. And everyone on his panel would agree that AJ, from a career perspective, is at an all-time low, right? He's lost 2 fights in a row. The ghosts of Andy Ruiz are still very much alive, I think. I don't really see what the issue with this just having a good tune-up, right? He said top 15. So I don't,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. You know, I interrupted you, which was rude. I'm sorry, Jimmy. But to me, Dillian White is the tune-up. Dillian White is equivalent to Derek Chisora. But
I'll tell you why.
You need a tune-up to fight Dillian White? Really?
I'll tell you why. I think it's more economical. So if AJ comes back and blasts out, you know, a no-hoper, looks great, highlight knockout, I think that'll put them in a position to make AJ versus Dillian White a stadium fight. I don't know if AJ versus Dillian White right now would be a stadium fight, would do the kind of numbers that Eddie Hearn hopes for. Same with Dillian White. I think they're trying to get him a fight as well. I think Dillian White probably is still a top 10 heavyweight. I mean, he's still got a really good resume. I think wins over Joseph Parker, Alexander Povetkin, Oscar Rivas, Chisora. I mean, he's got, you know, I'm not saying he's the most dangerous guy. I don't think he's top 5, but I think he's still top 10. And I think at the end of the year, Eddie Hearn was saying that they want to make a mega fight with either Fury or Wilder. I think that's the plan, bro. I think it's a tune-up, you know, top 15-ish opponent in March, late March. And then in August, I think it'll be like a stadium fight with Dillian White. And then at the end of the year, I think it'll be a fight with Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury. I think that's the 3-fight plan. Me personally, bro, I don't have a problem with the tune-up because I feel like fighters that are in way better positions than AJ, that didn't lose 3 out of the last 5, that haven't been knocked out badly, outboxed twice. Even though, personally, I think he did better in the rematch against Usyk, a lot better with his jab, his inside fighting skills. He hurt Usyk. I'm a bit disappointed he didn't keep Robert Garcia, but maybe it was a logistical thing. As far as star power, bro, I don't know who's the biggest star right now, Fury and AJ. It might be AJ just because of track record, right? He does have a history of doing the biggest numbers in the division. So when people say Fury's the biggest star than AJ,
Yeah,
I mean,
look, people don't know his numbers. Like, how many people were at his last fight in Saudi? Does anybody know?
To be honest, I don't know.
How many people watched that fight on TV? Does anybody know?
Yeah, on UK, on Sky, I think it was over 1 million pay-per-views, and on DAZN globally, I don't know what the numbers were. But I know at the first fight, they had like 70,000 fans at the Hotspur Tottenham football stadium.
Yeah, and Fury did 95,000 at Wembley, followed by almost 60,000 against Derek Chisora in a fight that you know, rightly said not that many people were excited about. You know,
Yeah, but AJ's been doing that for several years, though, right? So Joshua, what Fury's done in his last 2 fights is something Fury's never done. But AJ's been doing that and more for I think about 7 years now, right? Sold out.
Let me ask you this: will the tune-up fight be a meaningful fight in the heavyweight division?
I mean, how highly would you rate someone like an Otto Wallin?
I mean, I don't even think they're gonna go for Otto Wallin, to be honest with you.
He's top 10.
Otto Wallin is rated number 9 by the WBC, right? He said he said top 15 level opponent. To me, that means 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
I see. Eddie Hearn is slick with the words, right? So when you say top 15, you could be talking about number 3 or number 14. So
well, we don't know that if he was gonna go top 5, he was at top 5, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be someone like maybe Chris Arreola or someone like
Really? Chris. Okay, that I'm sorry, I don't always do this, but that's getting this. I mean, Chris Arreola. Arreola's what is he? 42 right now?
Yeah.
I mean, but again, it's the situation where, you know, Wilder fought Hellenius, a guy that's in his pushing 40, who Dylan White destroyed about 10 years ago. And Wilder is in a similar position, right? 2 losses. and is at a career low. I think same with AJ. He's at a career low. I think he can't lose. There's no way AJ can lose his next fight and be a marketable star globally. There's just no way, bro.
So
That's
why they're giving him the cherry pick, the top 15, the tune up for Dillian White.
Yeah.
Let me go to Major Key, and then Jimmy will go back to Major Key. What's good, fam?
What's going on, brother? How you doing? How's everybody doing? Philly Average, Jimmy, what's going on, guys?
I'm blessed, bro. And the question for me before we get into it, because I know you a Bronx guy as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
We at this point.
Yeah. Right now,
is it over? I know you know that instrumental.
It's not over. And I'm
the
thinking
bridge is over, bro. The bridge is over.
No, it's not. It's not. Here's why I'm gonna say why. Look,
go for it.
Because Usyk, I already had a lot of belief in before the fight. You know what I'm saying? I called the first fight. I said Usyk was gonna win. You know what I'm saying? Ruiz, that was a point in time where he got clipped and he was a little too cocky. You know what I'm saying? He admitted that. He went back to a rugged style, avenged his loss with that one. Those are the only 2 losses on his record, bro. It's that, and then Usyk twice, and he did look a lot better in the second fight, but he just couldn't last long with Usyk. He looked better in the second fight, but he just couldn't last as long as whatever they were putting in his game plan was the right game plan. Everybody was like, oh shit, AJ came out like a beast, like going at him. If you remember the first few rounds, but then he just couldn't sustain it. So it's not that it's over for AJ. If he keeps working on his craft, you know what I'm saying, we might see a grudge match later on down the line, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. Is it necessary? Probably not. I'm not gonna say that that I'm gonna push for it, but I wouldn't mind seeing it a little later down the line, because he's still young. He's still, well, not young, but he's younger than Usyk. You know what I'm saying? And there could be a point in time where he might have a slight advantage if he keeps working on what he was working on for the first few rounds in that fight. But besides that, Usyk is just a better fighter all around. You know what I'm saying? He's just a better fighter all around. Now, AJ, if he comes back, I know your other question was, who does he fight next? I think I'm not mad at Otto Wallin, to be honest with you. I'm not mad at trying to catch maybe what's called it. I don't want to see a Helenius. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a boring fight to me. I don't want to see a Big Baby yet, because I want Big Baby to actually like bring his shit together, because AJ is I think right now, as good as Big Baby looks, AJ is a little dangerous for him right now. You know what I'm saying? Even though y'all might think the flip, the complete.
I don't think they're gonna take AJ anywhere near.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He still got to work on his craft, but he's looking really good for the future.
If I was in Big Baby's team, I'd send him straight to AJ. To be honest, like now's the time to get him.
I would get a Joe Joyce. I would get a Joe Joyce.
He's not fighting Joe Joyce though, bro. And I'll tell you why. He said top 15 level opponent. That's what AJ's man Eddie Hearn said, right? That means 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Otherwise, he would have said top 10. And if it was higher than top 10, he would have said top 5. So I don't think we're going to get an Otto Wallin. And it's funny. Let me ask you this. Would you favor him right now over Frank Sanchez?
Shit, man. If he couldn't handle Usyk, I highly doubt. Right now, that would be a tough one to call, to be honest with you. That would probably be a 50-50 fight for me, because it depends on, because I haven't seen Frances fight an AJ neither. You know what I'm saying? Or sorry, I said Sanchez fight an AJ neither. But I haven't seen him fight a caliber opponent like AJ. AJ has shown that he's a high caliber opponent. It's just that Usyk is that nice, bro. That's it.
What about Martin Bakoli, the same one who beat up on Tony Yoka, the Olympic gold medalist?
Yeah. AJ takes him out. He takes out. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. He takes out a Hergovich. He takes out a DAZN. He takes out a lot of these guys. A Helenius. He takes out most.
Why are they saying he needs a tune-up for Dillian White then? This is what
I don't know why they say that. I don't know why they say that.
If he takes out all of these people, why the fuck does he need a tune-up for Dillian White?
I don't think.
Why are they saying top 15? Why aren't they saying top 5?
Like,
I don't think he does. Yeah, I didn't realize the fact that you're a school teacher and you understood when they said top 15 that they could have said top 10. I didn't realize that when I jumped
10.
on.
They could have said top 5 if they wanted. Jimmy, right back to you, bro.
Yeah, bro, you're right. You did highlight that. So when you said top 15, I thought, well, I mean, that's been Vegas, isn't it? That could be mean number 3 or number 13, right? The gap is so big. It's like me saying I'm gonna pay you over $100. Okay, over $100 could be $1 million, right? Or it could be 101.
Yeah.
I think. Look, I think it's gonna be a soft touch, if I'm honest. I don't think he'll fight Fabio Wardley because I think they're under the same management company. So
No, I
I
think
don't know.
Wardley is actually with Dillian's
Dillian White.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Eddie Hearn's trying to steer him in a different direction, trying to turn him into a bit of a star. I can't see him making that fight.
I think Wardley would be a good opponent for Big Baby Anderson, though.
Yeah, I think. See, the Anderson fight, I don't think it makes sense for either guy. I think it's a very dangerous fight. And I'll be honest, I mean, bringing Anderson to London, I mean, it's not really going to do anything. So why would they put him in there with a dangerous young guy who's talented, dynamic, explosive?
I mean, I don't know why they want to put him in against Dillian White, to be honest. Like, I saw that first fight. There weren't any questions that weren't answered. He beat the boy.
I think Dillian White versus AJ 2 is a better fight than Fury versus Chisora 3.
You know what the difference? You know what the problem with that fight is for me? Since that fight, Dillian's been knocked out brutally, like a few times.
And AJ's took a couple of bad losses as well, though, to be fair.
So you're getting, I mean, look, I understand what people are saying here, right? I just don't see Dillian White at this point in his career being a fighter you need to have a tune-up for. But I mean, I'll play that game. I mean, who are we serving up to AJ? Do you think I don't think he'd take on Joseph Parker again. That's a fight I had questions about because I felt that the referee in that fight was doing way too much for AJ.
Parker beat AJ.
Yeah. I don't know if he beat AJ, but what I will say is he got a lot of assistance from the referee, Philly Drew.
So is Dillian White still a top 7 heavyweight in your opinion? So if you want to take him out of top 5, that's understandable. But top 7, I mean, I'd say so. I mean, this guy just fought for the heavyweight title. He avenged the Povetkin loss. And after the AJ fight, he went on a really good run. I mean, I'd say overall, he's got a better body of work than Deontay Wilder. Outside of Joshua and Fury, I'd say he's got a solid body of work.
You think that Dillian's run was really good? He got knocked out by a 40-plus-year-old Alexander Povetkin and didn't win a second of a round versus Tyson Fury. I'll be honest, people were shitting on the Chisora fight with Fury. It wasn't the greatest fight. Chisora wasn't the greatest opponent, but Chisora actually did better than Dillian White did.
I think a Jean and Hrgovic fight would be the right type of thermometer, if you will. You know what I'm saying? A barometer, whatever. You know what I'm saying? To kind of gauge what's going on with him mentally and physically at this point. I think that because I believe that AJ beats both of them on a regular day. You know what I'm saying? As you know, they're a little older. You know what I'm saying? They had a great fight against each other. I think if you put AJ against one of them, I think that's the type of tune-up a world-class fighter like AJ needs.
Yeah, the Zhang fight.
You like that one, Jimmy?
I do like that. I think Zhang is a guy that can punch. He's a southpaw, big, powerful, and most people thought he beat Hrgovic, so he should be, a top contender right now.
Well,
right?
I got good news for you guys. Zhilei Zhang is not in the top 10, so maybe he'll be an opponent. I mean, Zhilei Zhang is not a top 10 guy. Zhilei Zhang is ranked number 12 by the WBO.
There we go. We just dotting our I's and crossing our T's.
No, I got bad news though, because I think Eddie Hearn was saying that that's a fight that he wants to save to break AJ into the Chinese market.
Oh, goodness.
So I think that's a fight that they're gonna make abroad. It's not gonna be in the UK.
I gotta bring up a couple points. That second Andy Ruiz fight, he boxed, he stick and move, he ran from Andy Ruiz. He didn't want to engage that second fight. Tell you the truth, he was scared of Andy Ruiz's power from that first fight. He didn't want that happening again. So he boxed and stick and move and possibly ran the second part of that fight against him. The Usyk second fight, that just showed you the type of fighter AJ really is. AJ cannot adjust mid-fight. Usyk did. 10 times out of 10, Usyk outboxes AJ all day, every day, twice on Sunday, because he can adjust. AJ can't. And let's bring up other fights. Joe Joyce destroys AJ now.
No, it doesn't.
It won't even go 7 rounds. I'm telling you that right now. Tyson Fury destroys AJ.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he probably stops AJ, and I'll tell you why, Jimmy. AJ gasses out. Joe Joyce doesn't gas out. Joe Joyce, it's almost like he increases in power as the fight goes on. That's probably a lot because his opponents kind of decrease in terms of their output and their cardio. But I don't think he gets past Joe Joyce at all. And honestly, if they were serious about being a player still in the heavyweight division, they'd be looking at Joe Joyce because that would be a big fight in the UK, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, it'd be a huge fight in the UK, especially in London. But my thing is this: right now, I agree with you guys. He shouldn't take it next. But if AJ rebuilds, I just think AJ is just too fast for Joyce. I think he's a better long-range boxer. And there was a leak of the sparring, and I'll be honest, man, AJ was styling on Joyce.
But here's the problem: he can be faster than Joyce, but does he have the defense to stop Joyce from landing? No, he does not. He's gonna get landed on eventually, and one of those punches is gonna hurt AJ.
Usyk is probably. So some people say Usyk is the greatest cruiserweight of all time, arguably the pound-for-pound king, right? I mean, getting outboxed by that guy, so Hall of Famer, the greatest cruiserweight of all time, arguably the pound-for-pound king, losing to that guy on points, especially close on points in the second fight. I mean, look, it's not the worst loss in the world, is it?
It actually is. If you lose to the same guy twice, the cruiserweight undisputed cruiserweight champion twice in a row, and get outboxed by them too.
And visibly hurt by him in the first fight.
But a lot of people are saying that right now that if Usyk fights Fury, that he's got a chance. I particularly think Fury's the better, bigger guy.
100%.
But Usyk is the better boxer overall. But against a guy that big that knows how to use his advantages, I think that for me, if I was to bet, I would be betting on Fury for that fight. However, Joe Joyce, even as good as he is, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I feel like AJ has already proven himself too. Like Joe Joyce is going through the motions of proving himself. If he were to actually win and beat AJ, then I would have to say, oh shit, you know what I mean? I was completely wrong. But at this point, I think that AJ, he's getting over criticized in some instances based on the fact that he lost to a freaking, like, one of the faces of boxing right now, one of the top pound for pound, the best boxers in boxing right now.
Well, I don't disagree with that sentiment, Major Key, but the problem, honestly, for me is that, and I'm not capping here, like literally Derek Chisora did better against Usyk than AJ did. It was a more competitive fight.
Well, here's the thing.
The more competitive fight. He was pushing him more to his limits.
If I may, real quick, just add to that, because since he addressed my comment, I just want to say that with that, don't forget that he just fought Witherspoon to acclimate himself to the division. Then he went with a big guy like Chisora, whose freaking nickname is War. You know what I'm saying? And he's coming forward to try to knock your head off until he gasses out. So I would say that Usyk was basically, the smaller man in that fight, just trying to acclimate himself to see, how can I deal with this kind of pressure if I'm going to battle for a title. And I would say that was just smart strategy, smart building on his skills to go after the 3 belts, which he eventually won.
Yeah, and he was hurt against Joshua. I don't think he was ever hurt against Chisora. It was after the Chisora fight. He said that the fight was rough, but he didn't get hurt. In the AJ rematch afterwards, he said that, look, I mean, I was hurt. I'm going to be honest. I think AJ did better in the rematch against Usyk than Chisora did in that first fight. Chisora made it rough and awkward, but I thought it was kind of like an 8-4 type of fight, or 9-3 for Chisora. Sorry, not Chisora, Usyk. I mean, I personally think Joshua did better in the rematch than Chisora, but
I look at it.
You're right, man. If we're comparing Joshua, if he's really that great, you shouldn't be talking about, divvying up your performance against a Chisora, right? So,
like, Maestro, I'm going to be honest with you. If AJ chooses Eddie Hearn chooses AJ to fight Otto Wallin, I'm going to put some money on Otto Wallin to win this fight. Because I tell you this right now, I really think if you put him there with someone like Otto Wallin is that live dog that cause Fury problems, and Fury's a better fighter than AJ. I think Otto Allen can pull an upset here. Because he can gas out. Because Otto Allen has a chin. And like be honest, I think the perfect fight will be against Herbative, because I think Zhang causes AJ a little bit of problems now because he's a southpaw and he can punch. But Herbative, I think if you base off his last performance, I would match up AJ with him and say, yo, before he got away with a gifted decision, I'm going to put him in at AJ. We're going to see if that was a fluke or not. I let him beat AJ. If he beats AJ, then you know AJ just doesn't have it no more. But AJ beats him. AJ just proves this guy, ain't the real deal.
It's over, guys. I'm sorry to tell you this, but the fact that they're talking about a tune-up for a Dillian White fight is all I need to know. It's all I need to know. You know what? I'm looking at another name though here. You guys might not like this one, but somehow, some way, Jarrell Big Baby Miller has established himself as a number 13 ranked contender in the WBA. So maybe they run that one back.
Bro, that's you know what? I actually think that's a sellable fight because of the history, the controversy. Big Baby Miller is got an action, fan friendly style. And again, like all the controversy, all the history, he comes in with on paper an undefeated record. He's just, still relatively young and he can punch a bit. I actually think that fight would sell really well, especially if the trash talk and I think that fight would do quite well. But I don't think they'll take the fight. I think they'll fight someone like a Tom Schwartz or a Hellenius or, I don't know, Maestro. I feel like you're being really harsh on AJ, bro.
Look, I'm only harsh on AJ because his fans are so, I would just say delusional, about what he is, who he is, how great he is. Honestly, when I look at his heavyweight run and people tell me that it's the greatest heavyweight run pretty much since Klitschko, or some people even go further back than that, I'm just not seeing it. The guy won the title against the guy who won a vacant title in Charles Martin. Defended it against Eric Molina. Was it Eric Molina? I think, or was it Dominic Breazeale?
Right?
Breazeale.
Yeah, both. And then proceeded to be in fights that really weren't that great. I mean, the Klitschko fight was great, although Klitschko was aged out, honestly. And that was followed up by what? Parker, okay.
Unification.
Takam, which honestly I felt was stopped early. And then he had the loss to Andy Ruiz, the win, if you want to call it that, against Andy Ruiz in the rematch. I like my rematches run back the way Lennox did them, with KOs. All right. And that was followed up by what? By Pulev, and then by 2 losses in a row. Like, I'm just not seeing the greatness. I'm sorry.
Well,
if people were just honest about what this guy is, like, I would sound like less than a hater, but people are trying to make this out as some kind of great heavyweight. I'm just not seeing it.
Yo, Maestro,
I'll tell you what.
You brought up the Pulev fight. He struggled against a one-handed fighter in Pulev.
A guy who's one-handed, but also who's over the age of 40, bro. Pulev older than me.
Look, I'll put things into, I guess, more context to what the fans for Joshua will do. Joshua was, I think, a 15 or 16 fight novice when he fought Klitschko, who was the dominant champion of the last decade. He was 1 fight removed from being, I think, the second longest reigning champion in history. He was still a massive puncher. And once Tyson Fury went into exile, by default, he was still seen as the top dog, right? And AJ had a fight of the year with him. He fought Parker when Parker was a top 3 heavyweight, undefeated. Povetkin was a very dangerous fight, which he went on to prove against Hunter and
I gotta
Dylan
stop
White.
you right. Oh, hold up. I got to stop you right there.
Undefeated Dylan White as well.
Parker's claim to fame was eking out a split decision against Andy Ruiz on home soil in New Zealand that many people thought he lost. All right.
I agree.
What was Parker's signature win going other than that fight going into the fight with AJ?
The signature win going into the fight with AJ.
There wasn't one. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the fans. Like, AJ's actually a great fighter because he's taking risks. What risks?
No, I think
I mean, look, hey, Maestro, I got to kind of agree with Jimmy on this one, though. Like it was his age. We're also forgetting about his age, bro. Like he was going. They threw him in with the Sharks. They threw him in, you know. And the Sharks were, whether we like it or not, at his age. Klitschko, Parker was undefeated. You know what I'm saying? I believe he put the first loss. He put the first loss on a lot of these guys' careers.
Okay, Klitschko had been inactive for 18 months.
Almost 2 years.
And had been dominated, nearly shut out, if you want to call it what it was, by Tyson Fury. Yeah, you said it, Philly Drew, nearly 2 years. And was over the age of 40, okay? And after that, again, what was it? Takam? People forget Andy Ruiz was supposed to be a blowout victory coming into the U.S. He was supposed to roll through this dude. He was a last-minute replacement, okay? That what was he, a 25 to 1? Was he a 25 to 1 underdog? And by the way, what did Andy Ruiz ever do before this fight?
A lot of people thought he beat Parker, though. I know you say his claim, Parker's claim to fame is being Andy Ruiz, but a lot of people thought Ruiz won that fight. That's why it's even spoken about, is because of what Andy Ruiz did later. And the fight right before, after he signed a PBC, his first fight with them, he knocked the guy out like viciously. I was like, damn, this dude is nice. He got quick hands. So I knew that it was a threat, but you're right. It was definitely a 25 to 1 underdog, because if you didn't watch that fight right before, then who the fuck is Andy Ruiz, right? And I apologize for cursing, because I know you.
No, that's good. I just want to respond. I want to respond to Ito Cool. Ito Cool. I think the resume is mostly trash, honestly. Wilder's resume. I'm not going to big up Wilder's resume at all. He's got like 2 wins on there, and they're both wins against Luis Ortiz, right?
A poor man's Povetkin, right? A poor man's Povetkin. So what I was saying, that's a good point. Look, Deontay Wilder had 30 pro fights, and you're Shelly Finkel running around crying that Wilder's a baby. We refused to fight Klitschko in unification, right? Tyson Fury was gone. I think at that time, guys like a Povetkin, a Parker, a Klitschko, an undefeated Dillian Whyte, they were some of the top guys that were available at that time. And Joshua, who didn't have a deep amateur career, right? He only had, I think, 40 amateur fights, even though he did it at the highest level. Less than 20 fights in, bro. When you're fighting an undefeated Dillian Whyte, who was your British rival, who beat the shit out of you.
Let me stop you again real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but I gotta do this. Dillian Whyte had a lower level amateur record than AJ.
What's
AJ's an Olympic gold medalist. Dillian Whyte wasn't like on the ABA levels of British amateur boxing.
But
he wasn't on the European. He wasn't on the European circuit. He wasn't on the world circuit as an amateur.
Or an Olympian. Yeah. Dillian Whyte was he had a short amateur run, then he turned pro early. My thing is this though, the thing that sold the fight was he beat the dog shit out of Joshua in the amateurs, right? And as a pro so far, he was on a knockout streak as well. And at that time, they were the top 2 young heavyweights in the country. A lot of people were picking Dillian Whyte, bro, including my personal friends. So the UK was split at that time. It wasn't all pro AJ.
Who was the favorite going? Who was the betting favorite going into that fight?
I think AJ might have been a slight favorite, but I personally know a lot of fans.
Who was the A side going into that fight?
The money man was Joshua, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
although to be fair, that was his first pay-per-view, though, right? That was his first pay-per-view, and I don't remember him doing 700,000 buys before Dillian Whyte.
Let me ask you this. Can you think of a weaker opponent to win your title against in Prince Charles Martin? He's probably the worst heavyweight titleist of my lifetime.
Yo, Maestro,
I think Romain Stavern was worse.
Maestro, you got your nemesis in the background. You got your nemesis, your female nemesis, waiting to be put on stage.
I'd say Romain Stavern was a lot worse. I mean, this guy was 40. This guy was 40 years old and as fat as a pig.
Jimmy, I gotta disagree with you because Charles Martin only won that title because the dude got injured in the second round.
Romain Stavern got knocked out by a cab driver and he was fat as a whale. The guy had titties, bro. Come on. You're talking about Areola.
Romain Stavern, I'm sorry, he's not any worse. In fact, forget not any worse. He's better than Prince Charles Martin. Prince Charles Martin is not that dude. We're joined by Lady Chan.
What up, though? What's up? Happy New Year.
Good to see you, sister. How's it going?
Not too
Lady
bad.
Chan.
Happy New Year. I just thought
in the building.
In the building. I just heard some stuff that things that were being said. I'm an AJ supporter, not a fangirl, but I deal with stats, facts, and data. It's funny that I heard that Klitschko went from being 18 months inactive to all of a sudden because your little friend over there chimed in and said, no, it was 2 years. No, bro, it was 17 months. Let's get it accurate. Let's get it accurate. Let's talk in accuracies. And if Zhili Zhang is it, Eddie Hearn said Anthony Joshua will be fighting someone in the top 15. So if Zhili Zhang is at number 12, do the maths. Does that make him in the top 15?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Okay, so moving along swiftly. When Tyson Fury, if we have to yet again look at his resume, only one signature win, only one undefeated champ that he's on. When he beat Klitschko, Klitschko already had defeats. So that wasn't really that much of a signature win if you want to take that away. And if Anthony Joshua fought him when he was old, so did Tyson Fury. There's no difference between 39 and 41.
Yeah, but Tyson Fury, with all due respect, Lady Chen, Tyson Fury essentially shut him out.
Okay, well he was
AJ went life and death with him. That's the difference.
No, AJ didn't went life and death with him. AJ stopped him.
Did he not get off the canvas to do it?
Yep, and won.
Was he not nearly gassed out when he did?
Did Fury get off the canvas and beat Wilder? Did that take away from Fury's win? Fury was on the canvas hang on, Jimmy. Fury was on the canvas 4 times. Did he not get up and win?
He did.
Okay, I rest my case. What's the next bit that you want to defame and nitpick at a 2-time unified heavyweight champion? You got anything else to say, Drew? So I can just check you and put you in and deal with facts, stats, and data real quick.
You could run through the facts, Drew.
I'm just waiting for. Yes, go ahead, Drew.
He got a fully loaded clip when it comes
to
AJ.
No. You're shooting blank.
Fully loaded clip when it comes to AJ.
And you don't need to help. Don't help him, Maestro, because right now he's loaded up with blanks. But go ahead, Drew.
Number one, if you were on this show earlier and you heard what
I wasn't. So number 2, move to number 2 because I wasn't on there earlier. So let's move to number 2 because I wasn't here earlier. So number 1, number 1 is null and void. I wasn't here earlier. So let's just quickly get to step number 2, Drew. Let's keep the math in.
Lady Chen, parliamentary procedure, please. Parliamentary procedure.
No, I'm in the US. You don't have to fight. Go ahead.
Well, it's Philly. Oh shoot, we got another lady in the house. I had to bring in Lisa.
Lisa Fowles, my sister, in the building.
Hi.
In the building.
Thanks for having me.
Sorry, I didn't see you, Lisa. Thank you for joining us, Lisa.
That's okay.
Respect.
I got smoke for y'all.
Oh shit! Happy New Year, sister. I'm gonna stay back then.
Happy New Year.
What's up?
I need a smoke too, by the way, but I hold off on that.
I'm Major. I ain't got smoke for you.
No, we ain't got much.
I didn't figure you did, but I'm still laid back and let you just spray the block down. You know what I'm saying?
We gotta let Philly defend himself though.
First of all, I said almost 2 years. Okay.
Well, it wasn't. It was 17 months. So that's the fact.
It's 18 months.
Go ahead.
Almost
Next.
18
Next.
months.
It was 17 months.
The thing about it is, you're calling his win against Klitschko. You're calling Tyson Fury's win against Klitschko not a signature win because
she is.
He is.
She said that's it.
Deontay Wilder twice, actually 3 times.
I said that was his signature win.
And then you got the
defame AJ. I said it was his signature win. Unblock your ears, Drew from Philadelphia. I said that was his signature win. But if you want to take away it from AJ, then we'll take away it from Tyson Fury because they were both still signature wins in 2 different reasons and methods. But you're going to say that he was 41 when AJ fought him and he was 39 and a half when Klitschko fought Fury. So if he was old for AJ, guess what? He was old for Fury. Guess what? I've been 39 and I'm in the middle of 41. So I know what it feels like to be both ages. And let me tell you something. Not much difference, my friend. Okay? Okay.
I'm happy for you, but let me
go ahead, Lisa. What have you got to say? Drew, light work. Go ahead.
I'm sitting here listening.
I don't think Drew was done, but Lisa, go for it.
I'm done with Drew.
Okay, so I'm sitting here listening to this man being torn apart, his resume, or like I heard you say, Maestro, that somebody put in the chat, he's done well or whatever, et cetera, et cetera. I can't remember verbatim what it was said, but she was like, but How did he take risks? He took a lot of risks. He fought good competition as well as the other ones. I'm not saying that. More, yeah, risk, yeah. Of course,
No, I'm
he
asking
took
what
risks because
was the risk? I mean,
what was the risk was
everybody
he
take a
got
risk
thrown
as
in
a
it,
boxer.
but he
I'm
got
not gonna
thrown
deny
in
that.
there. He was thrown in there under 20 fights, and he just took that risk to fight Klitschko, which was a signature win. And
Klitschko was coming off a loss.
Okay, and so what?
So what?
Klitschko. So guess what? Klitschko
So
had.
what? I mean, that's the reason they're saying he's going to be fighting the top 15 quote unquote level opponent as a tune-up to Dillian White.
So
apparently, he needs
what's
a tune-up for
wrong?
Dillian
You know
White
what? Every
because
time
he's
this
coming off
man
a
comes
loss.
out, somebody got something negative to say. So what? Guess what? Eddie Hearn is mapping out what their plans are for 2023, and everybody got a problem with it. He's going to be fighting 3 times this year, hopefully. So that's a good plan in action. So everybody always got something negative to say about this guy.
How comes when Tyson Fury had Pianetta and Schwartz, who weren't even ranked in the top fucking 100, that there was no problem with that though?
Yep.
But AJ's tune-ups are top 15 opponents, and that's a big issue.
Yeah.
Don't fucking what?
Mice don't like when the numbers are even.
I don't have to use Klitschko. I use that as an example to the guy in the chat.
Yeah,
I'm not just saying Klitschko.
What you mean about
Yeah. I'm saying what I'm saying is that at the time he was under 20 fights and he went in there and took a risk, especially a novice going in there with a person of the caliber of fights that Klitschko had, and he went in there and took a risk, and he did it, and he's been doing it since, he's been doing his thing.
What's the problem?
Of course, he had some losses, but but that doesn't mean. Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with having losses. Like to me, I just don't see Dillian White, with all due respect to Dillian White, being somebody that AJ needs to tune up.
Okay, well, I didn't think
personally.
that Chisora needed to fight. Tyson Fury needed to pick Derek Chisora.
Exactly.
That's 3 sheets.
Well, AJ didn't want to fight him in December, and neither did Usyk.
The wind. That was his tune.
Oh, come on.
That's the truth. Frank Smith came out and said it.
I'm gonna criticize.
He gave him a timeline. He never gave nobody else no timeline like that. So come on.
Okay, let's go to Jimmy. I want to be fair, and Jimmy hasn't spoken.
I just want to ask you something. This just hit me before. Just what makes Deontay Wilder's title run more credible than Joseph Parker's, right? The Joseph Parker's best win was Andy Ruiz. Deontay Wilder's best win is Luis Ortiz. And in retrospect, I say Luis Ortiz.
I'll tell you what. I'm not here to defend Deontay Wilder, because what he did to Mark Breland, he still hasn't apologized for. And as far as I'm concerned, that says all it needs to say. But when it comes to Wilder versus Ortiz, he did it twice by knockout, and when you're talking about Andy Ruiz and Joseph Parker, that was a nip and tuck battle that a lot of people felt that Andy Ruiz won. Like, nobody thinks that Luis Ortiz beat Deontay Wilder. Why? Because he got knocked out twice.
I didn't think Andy won. I point scored and rewatched it on my show. It was a close fight, but I'd had Joseph Parker winning, and also
that was against two young guys, right? Not an old man in Ortiz.
Yeah. Also, I heard someone say that. I think it was the husky voice fella from Philadelphia. I heard him say that on the second Ruiz fight, AJ stuck a move and ran. Now, you know when people are not really boxing connoisseurs, they always use the term run. I'll tell you who's a runner. We saw who was running the other day. It was Sandor Martin. That was running. Yeah, that was running. That's what we call running.
Did Fury run against Klitschko?
Somebody that busted Andy Ruiz's face in the first round and pitched a 12-round shutout surely can't be deemed as a runner. How did Andy Ruiz's face bust open in the first round if AJ was running? How did he pitch a 12-round shutout if AJ was running?
Yep. He used his jab and lateral movement all night, so he ran.
He's a bot, so he showed his
fucking
boxing skills, bust his face. Even with with who he just fought the other day. My bad, Usyk. Same thing. He lost, but he bust Usyk's face, didn't he? So with all this running stuff, it's just people that don't really watch boxing or people that's got a bias and they hate a specific boxer, so they call someone a runner because they don't know what the sweet sciences of boxing is. You know, I suggest you can step your game up before you come on a panel and tell people that people are running when they've pitched a 12-round shutout and bust their face on round 1 and won every single round going. Please step your game up. Because when niggas like me pull up, yes, niggas like me pull up, I deal with stats, facts, and data. If your opinion cannot trump a fact or a stat or a piece of data. Okay?
Hey, Mike,
anyway,
Billy Drew, the floor is yours. I gotta let you respond to that.
Yeah, can you do me a favor? Can you mute the shit out of her because she's rude as fuck? First of all,
you do it, Drew.
I can't. It's not my panel.
Well, then shut your face then and just talk.
Then don't interrupt me when I'm talking. I'll let you have
shut your face.
Lady Chan, just let him go. Just let him speak.
Yeah, I am. I was never going to overspeak him anyway.
All right, go for it. Go for
it. Number one, Wilder is a signature win for Fury. And tell you the truth, because Wilder was the most dangerous puncher at the time. And he was a defending 10 times. He defended that 10 times. He almost broke Muhammad Ali's record. Now, if you want to look at it,
Muhammad Ali got 19 title defenses. So,
God,
you stack facts and data.
No, yeah, we have to because we have to correct you. We can't
using incorrect data.
Ladies,
no, but Maestro, he's making a lot of mistakes, though, babe. He's making a lot of mistakes.
Respond right after he's done. You can respond.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to be respectful to you two.
Don't do it. I don't need your respect. You're lame. Go ahead. You're a lame. I don't like respect from lames. I am respected for those who need to respect me. You're a lame. You don't know anything about boxing.
Oh, I know a lot about boxing.
Continue, sir. Major mistakes. Go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. Now, I don't know what your problem is. Like,
you're a lame.
No, you're rude as hell. Okay,
you're a lame, and you're a lame. I'd rather be rude, but you're a lame.
Yeah,
you're a lame, and you don't know anything about boxing. You're still, you still kind of, you're.
Just let him land this point. Let him land this point, please.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, he's about to crash it.
Damn, like
Lady Chan is about to crash the plane. Let him land it.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, his plane's crashed. Go ahead.
Now, I don't know what the hell is the problem with people having their opinions on shit. And then when you say, then they're pointing out facts here, you just saying, oh, that's more of a fangirl talking at the first of all. Like, they both have signature wins. Wilder is a signature win. Klitschko is a signature win for both these guys. It doesn't matter if they came up from the canvas or not. It's a signature win.
Fabi, you wasn't saying that earlier when I was listening to what you were saying. You had a lot.
No, I said
you had a lot of thoughts to say.
You had a lot of thoughts
to say.
You interrupt me again.
No, I did interrupt you. You left the gap. You left the gap. You left the gap. You left the gap. You're so boring. Anyway, go ahead, Maestro, because this guy doesn't. He calls us being fangirls. He's calling me being a fangirl because I'm giving facts and stats and data.
Lady Chan, just let him make his point. Let him make his point and then you can respond.
All right, Maestro, let's listen to his point. Go ahead and do not
let him
address
make his point.
Damn, Maestro, where the hell you get this woman from?
Don't address me. Go ahead. All facts. Wow. You got the floor.
I feel sorry for the guy that dates you or is married to you.
Don't worry, he loves me.
Philly, when you make those comments, they're gonna clap back.
Don't worry, Philly, because when I ride off his cocky at night, he loves it.
Good for you.
Something that you will never be a part of. Something that you'll never be a part of. So don't worry about it. When I ride off his hard, big 8-inch cocky, he loves it.
And into the gutter we go.
So carry on, keep it boxing. And don't let me have to go personal for you. Because if I have to tell you what I did when your dad had to 69 me, you won't like it.
Let's keep it boxing, okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep
Philly, it. No, but no more personal attacks, Philly, because then you're gonna get the the return fire. So just keep it boxing.
I am keeping the boxing, but she needs to stop being rude for once.
Yeah, bro, just go boxing, man. Like, why do you keep bringing it back to her?
Like, I'm gonna be honest. AJ is a good fighter, but at the end of the day, there's some points of his resume you gotta question. And if you see stuff, and we're saying that, hey, he had problems with a 40-year-old Pulev, you can't take personal attacks at people. And like, seriously, he had a problem with Povetkin, he had a problem with Pulev. He knocked both of them out. He came back from, but he still had problems with them. And then we saying that, hey, it's a tune-up for, like, you need a tune-up for Dillian White. There's no reason you need a tune-up for Dillian White. Dillian White is a glorified gatekeeper now. He's actually done. Like, I don't know why the hell does he need a tune-up for Dillian White? Now I could understand if Dillian White was the tune-up and everything, I could say, all right, that's the tune-up. But they say you don't need no tune-up for Dillian White.
You know when I would say you need a tune-up for Dillian White? If Dillian White had actually like physically and mentally destroyed Jermaine Franklin. But that didn't happen. Like Dillian went life and death with Jermaine Franklin. You know? So I mean, they should just go straight into the Dillian White fight and make that the first fight. That's what I think.
Well, can I answer him? This guy Philly Irish. Well, I'll say this. First of all, you don't know what kind of deal they got. Maybe that's a deal maybe that's something that Eddie had with Dylan, where it would be like a cash, you know what I'm saying? Where he's further towards the end of his career. So that's a big money fight. So, you know, that's something that they've been talking about for years about making that, but they just never did.
They were selling this fight with Jermaine Franklin as the winner gets AJ. I didn't know that it meant the winner gets AJ after AJ get a tune-up. Like, I didn't remember that part.
But it doesn't matter. Why is it anybody's concern?
Yeah, that's what I just wondered.
I'll tell you why it's my concern. I pay a big bag of money.
Then don't pay for it then.
But I'm just saying, I already paid for it. They got my annual fee, and if you look at the first 2 months of boxing, ain't shit happening on DAZN.
Yeah, and you're at liberty to not renew again. Don't renew.
Okay, how about this, Maestro? I somewhat get what you're saying, Maestro. I think AJ's tune-up should not be pay-per-view.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. That's the only way that you can show people that you're not supporting what they're doing, is us as consumers not to buy it. I didn't buy Fury and Chisora. I didn't even watch it. So, you know, because it's pointless. I didn't watch Elanius and Wilder and buy that. Why are we going to buy that, Maestro? It's pointless. It's not a pay.
I mean, I've already bought it. Like, they took the money. Like, I paid for the whole year already. And when I look at January, no boxing on DAZN. When I look at February, no boxing on DAZN. Sorry, I don't want to insult the female fight that's going to be on there, but I separate men's boxing and women's boxing.
Well, the American ain't going to have that on pay-per-view. It's going to be regular DAZN for an AJ fight.
Yeah, you guys won't pay pay-per-view for the AJ fight, Maestro.
It'll be the UK.
No, I'm saying me personally, even though I'm a Joshua fan, I will not pay pay. Like, say if he does fight a top 15 opponent, yeah, I'm a massive Joshua fan. I might even go to the fight in London. But would I like pay pay-per-view like 30 quid? I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable paying that much.
Never 30 quid. Fury's just been the one that's tried to stretch it to 27.99.
No, but you have to pay for the DAZN pass. No, but you have to pay for the DAZN as well on top of the pay-per-view. So
then y'all had to pay for had to pay for this flop that Fury just had, right?
Yeah, we had to pay we had to pay 27 quid for it. Lady Chan, you remember to turn up
a complete flop. Why don't y'all flame that? I was laughing my ass off when I heard it. I was laughing my ass off.
Sis, Mike.
I didn't pay for it though.
The laugh was the gangster.
You're on mute. Maestro, you're on mute, bro.
Oh, fucking
he flopped.
I was saying that I watched that one on ESPN Plus. I watched that one on ESPN Plus. I didn't have to pay. You know what is the DAZN charging now? It's like $150 a year, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't pay.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
I never renewed. I didn't renew this year.
I do my monthly.
And if you remember, because you know they made you, you know, mine renews at a certain time of the year, anyways. Around December time. They told us that AJ was going to be first. That AJ was fighting in December. Then
Yeah.
AJ's fighting in February.
Yeah.
Now AJ's fighting in April against the
Or
tune-up
May.
opponent for Dillian White. I mean, this is a bait.
You know what it is?
Okay,
Maestro,
but that's other fight.
I
Are
forgot
you?
one thing.
Do you got that same energy for the other fighters to do it? Because if you don't, I don't want to hear it.
Well, listen, I'll tell you right now, I'm not a big fan of Andy Ruiz against Wilder. I'm not excited about that fight. I'd rather see Wilder against the Juggernaut, personally.
Yeah, but you know Wilder don't fight nobody.
But there's plenty of fights that's going on, and they're saying they're not. So don't put that flame on AJ only. Flame the whole
Flame all
thing.
of
Then
them.
I'll have respect for you. Then I'll have respect for you.
Thank you, Lisa. Because you don't have to like AJ, you don't have to like Fury, you don't have to like Wilder, but hold them all to the same standards. If you're flaming that one and that other one's doing, your favorite fighter's doing the same thing, I will call out the hypocrisy every given day and twice on a Sunday. Flame them, don't flame them or flame them all. That's all like that. And then for real, like what Lisa said, I can respect everyone's opinion on the panel. Just because your opinion's different from mine, I would still like to respect you and respect your opinion. But I'm struggling in these YouTube streets to respect a lot of people because I can see the double standards and the hypocrisy.
Maestro,
Let me respect you. Let me respect you.
Go for it, Jimmy.
That's what Eddie Hearn was saying.
Sorry, come again, Jimmy.
No, I said, what Eddie Hearn was saying, they want a tune-up because of the trainer situation. So Joshua's trying to rebuild his training team, and then he's a comeback.
I mean, commercial engagements, training teams. It's like, when does it stop? I mean, like, first they said they were serious about a December fight, right?
Yeah,
they said that even if they
Fury.
didn't fight Tyson Fury, they were going to fight somebody in December. It didn't happen, right? I'm just saying, like, I'm sorry. I'm not excited about top 15 because I know what that means. That's promoter speak for 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th ranked fighter in the world.
So what? You're top 15 and you're what it is. How many top 10 contenders is Anthony Joshua at the time when he was fighting them and taking their rows where they ranked? And he's fought more ranked top 10 opponents than Fury and Wilder put together.
Combined.
What are you guys doing? He's fought 8 out of 10 rated, ranked Ring Magazine top 10 heavyweights. 7 of them he beat out of the 8. What are you guys talking about? I don't care if you think his level of competition was weak or what. If his level of competition was weak, then Tyson Fury's level of competition is weaker. So what are we talking about?
I want to say one thing on the flip side, right, of it looking weak to some people, right? It's really just that AJ was doing that great that it made it look weak. You know what I'm saying?
They just don't like him. That's just it. And if when somebody doesn't like you,
I'm staying out of the line of fire. I'm staying out of the line of fire.
When someone doesn't like you,
when
someone doesn't like you, you could part the fucking Red Sea like Moses did. They'll tell you that you're still a fraud and that wasn't good enough. So there's no point. If you don't like AJ,
I'm not saying he needs to part. I'm not saying he needs to part the Red Sea. What I'm saying is taking. I don't know. Somebody's got a lot of got a lot of background noise.
The dude from Philly, shut your mic off, mate.
So it wasn't Philly. He was on mute. So look, I don't think it's too much to ask. Okay. For a guy of AJ's caliber, and a lot of AJ's supporters say that he did a lot better in the Usyk rematch than he did in the first fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the case. Fine, you know, I'm willing to buy that. So why are we going to a tune-up fight to Dillian White? Just give me somebody else. Give me a better name. Take on Hergovich. He needs. Why did Wilder go? Why are we moving? And by the way, I don't think it's going to be Otto Wallin either, because Otto Wallin's ranked number 3. So it's not going to be Frank Sanchez.
And he floors Otto Wallin. You not acting like Otto Wallin some world fucking beater just because he gave your favorite fighter a run for his money. Doesn't make Otto Wallin some fucking murder.
I don't think Otto Wallin's great at all. I didn't give Otto Wallin 3 rounds against Tyson.
Okay then. So
what I'm saying is that they're not even going for Otto Wallin or Martin Bacoli or Frank Sanchez, Ajit Caballo. These are top 10 guys.
bro, if say he was going for them, you'd still be on this platform at this time right now criticizing it. So drop it, Maestro.
No, I would not be.
Nothing that he can
Absolutely
do
not. I would not be. You know how you know I wouldn't be? Because I'd never criticized his fights against Carlos Takam. I didn't even criticize the Andy Ruiz fight. I was there.
Why
I didn't criticize. I did not criticize.
Who was a late replay? Why would you have the credence to even open your mouth to criticize him against Carlos Takam?
Because you could have criticized the original opponent, who was actually worse than Andy Ruiz and Big Baby Miller. Yeah, I didn't think Big Baby Miller was a good opponent, and I didn't even criticize that fight.
I didn't think Pianetta or Schwartz was a good opponent, but everybody had to.
Right. Yes, I understand that, but you're citing fights that happened before the Wilder fight when he was coming off of a fat camp. That's not the same
he was
thing.
coming back camp. AJ was coming out of only being a world champ by his 16th fight. So sorry if you was fat and undisciplined and on coke and had a drink problem, and this guy just picked up boxing at 18 and became a golden Olympian, and by the time it was his 15th fight, he was taking people's oaths. Give credit where it's fucking due. There's nothing that the dude can do that you guys like. Guess what? He couldn't give two shits what you like or not. But I tell you what you do like. You like putting his name in your captions so you can generate views. If you don't like him, stop putting his name in the captions and stop doing shows about him.
And there's nothing wrong with a bit of cocaine. I just want to throw that out there.
Jimmy, shut up for 1 minute.
So look, Lady Chan, you can talk about whoever you want on your channel, and I'm going to talk about whoever I want.
Yeah, you can.
About whoever I want on my channel.
You can.
And I'm a fan of heavyweight boxing. My favorite fighter of all time is Lennox Lewis. He's who got me into the sport. Okay. And I'm always going to talk about heavyweight boxing. And guess what? This was news put out there by Eddie Hearn, so I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah. But this was someone that just shows so much disdain about somebody. Like there's any your fighter's not above reproach. Well, Jimmy does come in and give the stats and facts, but Jimmy, I was listening. You remember to always keep consistent and flame on when these lot start chatting shit about, and they can't refute facts. You always have to
Maestro, so it's hard for me to go mode.
Even if you like someone or dislike someone, it's not about liking or disliking. It's just about presenting facts. And it's just about letting people know that there's double standards and there is real, and I don't like to use this word because I think it's used quite a lot, haterade, but there's a lot of haterade for a dude. If you don't like,
I've been trashing. You want to talk about a fight? I've been trashing Anthony Yard versus Arthur Betterby. Like that's a fight I've been trashing. If you want to talk about fights I've been trashing, that's the fight I've been trashing.
I spoke about it as well, but I
trash fights. I also one of my favorite fighters is the Monster Inoue. I trashed the Butler fight. I thought that fight was ridiculous. I didn't even think Butler should have the WBO title, especially the way he won it. It was vacated due to a Sana rule, and he won it it that way. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry. Like
you said, your favorite fighter was Lennox Lewis. One of your favorite heavyweights was Lennox Lewis. Yeah?
Favorite fighter of all time is Lennox.
Okay, well, Lennox Lewis was handed down the WBC belt, so he was the modern day. He was the original email champ. So what you got to say?
Yeah, but why was he handed it? You got to tell the whole. You got to tell the whole story.
Riddick Bowe did it.
Thank you. He did the Riddick Bowe, a guy who he stopped in the amateurs, refused to fight.
Yeah, that was the amateurs, and Anthony Joshua stopped Joe Joyce in 1 round in the amateurs. Does that make any difference? So you're still going to tell me that Anthony Joshua should still fight Joe Joyce, should he not? So let's
but if Anthony Joshua stopped Joe Joyce and then Joe Joyce refused. And then Joe Joyce held the title and refused to fight Anthony Joshua. That would mean something.
It wouldn't. See, there you go.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
It doesn't. Listen, so he got handed down the WBC belt. Whether or not he fought for it, he did not fight for it. So if Devin Haney's an email champ, if Anthony Joshua got this from this vacant, and that one got so did Lennox Lewis. So did your favorite fighter. Because it's your favorite fighter. Because it's your favorite fighter. There's a but.
Let's talk my favorite fighter. Let's talk what my favorite fighter did in rematches. He knocked people.
No, Maestro.
That's what he
Maestro,
did. He
Maestro,
knocked
check
people
this
My
out.
favorite fighter.
That's what
Your
Lennox,
favorite
that's what
fighter.
Lennox
Your
Lewis
favorite
did.
fighter only just started to knock people out. That's
Pardon me?
Maestro, check this out, bro.
my favorite fighter's been knocking people out.
Yeah. Lennox been knocking people out. What you talking about,
Yeah,
lady?
yeah. My
But
favorite
when
fighter's
Lennox got
been
knocked
knocking
out,
Talking
how
about
long did it
Lennox
take
wasn't
him?
knocking people out. Lennox knocked out almost
Yes,
everybody he
yes.
faced.
Yes, and guess what? I'm Jamaican and I'm British as well. But Lennox Lewis, I didn't say I'm talking about current day. My favorite fighter's been knocking two of them. Anthony Joshua been knocking people out. Bud Crawford been knocking people out.
Well, Anthony Joshua did not knock out Alexander Usyk. Anthony Joshua did not knock out Andy Ruiz.
And Tyson Fury.
Anthony Joshua did not knock them out.
Tyson Fury didn't knock out.
He did not knock them out.
And Tyson Fury didn't knock out.
So if you want to be petty, if you really want to be petty,
Lennox to AJ.
Can I just make a comment? Can I just make a comment?
Nobody's comparing Lennox to
Can I make a
AJ.
comment?
It's very unfair to Lennox Lewis.
Nobody's comparing.
Yeah, no, I've got a comment about Lennox Lewis, your favorite fighter. The first KO loss he suffered in his career,
You're
right?
moving the goalposts completely. I see what you're doing. I see exactly what you're doing.
I didn't bring
You're a hater, Maestro.
But nobody was comparing those two.
Yeah.
Lady Chen was comparing.
No, I wasn't.
She wasn't.
I was comparing your current day favorite fighter, who is Tyson Fury, to my favorite fighters, who is Bud and AJ. I said my favorite fighters been knocking out people. We were you were talking about Lennox Lewis.
So you bring in Terrence Crawford to talk about your favorite fighter been knocking people out because AJ hasn't. I got it.
Favorite fighters.
I like how that one went. That was good.
I said favorite fighters.
I've got a comment about that.
Moving the goalposts again.
Did Tyson Fury knock out O'Reilly?
She brought up Terrence Crawford, who, by the way, I like.
My favorite fighters have been knocking people out. You just mentioned someone that's inactive. So what's your point? He's been retired 20 odd years. So what?
Check this out about Lennox Lewis.
The current fighter, but it's only because I had to tell you about your favorite fighter receiving a belt that he didn't fight for. Does that make him any less of an ATG or a Hall of Famer? In my opinion, no, it doesn't. But like I'm saying, Maestro, why don't you keep the same energy? Because whatever AJ does, you don't like. That was my point, and I think I've made it.
Yep. I would have liked it if he fought Tyson Fury, and I would have liked it if he fought Tyson Fury in December.
Okay, I would have liked it, and I would have liked it if I'd have had £20 million right now in my bank account. It's not there right now.
Exactly.
When Lennox Lewis got knocked out in his first loss, he didn't avenge the loss straight away, right?
No, it took him nearly three years. Yes.
Yeah, and he looked like terrible. Do you remember his first fight back? Lennox Lewis's first fight back. He fought a very low-level journeyman, and he looked completely terrible in the fight. He looked gun-shy. He had trigger issues, and it took him 3 years. Anthony Joshua got in the ring with Ruiz right away.
6 months later.
Yeah, 6 months later. Lennox Lewis took him 3 years, and he had about 5 tune-ups against complete journeymen, and he looked poor in all of them. So
but not good enough. Tell him, Jimmy. Yeah,
5 tune-ups, Jimmy.
There's going to be
he had a few tune-ups. He had at least 3.
Fourth man in history to avenge his
within 6 months
get his titles back.
So and I like Lennox, but he did not die.
Muhammad Ali, I think Floyd Patterson, another old school heavyweight boxer, and AJ. Only 4 of them in the history books for doing that within a 6 month period. So that's in the history books. Are you going to refute that?
Okay, so let me just make my argument clear here. AJ's a really good heavyweight fighter.
We don't care.
Who's blockbuster levels. And I think it's beneath AJ to be taking on a tune-up to Dillian White. That's my thesis.
Who's the tune-up?
Apparently it's going to be a guy ranked 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's pick him. I don't know.
Well, what I saw with
Jonathan Guidry,
what I saw with Eddie Hearn,
Dempsey McKean.
No, he didn't say that though, Maestro.
No, I'm just reading off names. That's all I'm doing.
No. Eddie Hearn said the first fight will either be. Didn't he say it's either going to be Dillian White? And you're right. He said it's going to be someone in the top 15. then it could be Dillian White or Wilder, or it could be the third fight could be either
Fury.
Wilder or Fury.
Right. If you're gonna, all I'm saying, guys, is if you're gonna go to Dillian White, just do it right away. Like, why are we waiting for Dillian White?
Yeah,
why
I
do we
think
need
we
to
should
build
do
up?
Dillian
Well, then
That's
you
all I'm
get
saying. That's all I'm saying. This ain't a crazy argument that I'm saying.
We're not saying that it's crazy. We're just saying, well, for me, I'm gonna speak for me. The thing is that if that's the plan that they mapping out for 2023, then good. He get in there 3 fights, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't matter which one's first, which I don't care. Just get in there in the ring and start being more active.
We'll see if it happens, because AJ, I don't know the last time he fought 3 times in a year, to be honest.
I don't know. The last time.
Well, here, okay, so here again, the negativity.
That's why you want.
We'll
I
see
mean,
if
I'm just being a realist. Like, when have you seen guys get older and automatically become more active? Like, it's not common in boxing. It's not a common thing.
Joshua's the youngest out of all of those that lot of heavy, by the way, may I just add. So, no, not like he's old. Fury's older, Wilder's even older, and the rest are
Joyce is older. Joyce is older as well.
So I mean, AJ's the youngest out of the squad. So I wouldn't like try and act like he's a pensioner.
Let me get Puro Sur in, because he hasn't spoken yet. Go for it, Puro Sur. And thank you everybody for coming on. I haven't thanked everybody. So Lady Chan, thank you.
You're
Lisa,
welcome.
Thank you. I really appreciate y'all coming on.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Happy New Year's to the panel. I just got off of work and I've been listening kind of off and on, so I might have missed it. I mean, has anybody posed a question why AJ is even considering fighting Dillian White? And I'm an AJ fan, by the way.
According to Slight Tendencies, after Dillian's last performance, AJ told Eddie he doesn't deserve a fight with him. I actually agree with AJ on that. This was not a very good performance.
Joshua said that the Dillian White fight will always be big in the UK and in London, and that's a natural rivalry they've always had. So
I don't know where Slight Tendencies heard that. Was he there? Did AJ say that to him and Eddie? Was he standing with them? Shouts out to you, Slight Tendencies, but you weren't there.
So it could be strictly for the money, just for the money.
I just think it's a big UK fight, and I mean it still makes money for us UK lot. Yeah, that's it. And they've been talking about having a potential rematch for years, to be fair. And now that they both they've suffered losses, I mean, it's a better time to do it.
So I want to say something real quick, Lady Chan. MEZ BX says, but Fury can fight Chisora a third time, right? Fuck out of here. No, I'm not saying that. If Fury was taking on a warm-up to take on Derek Chisora, trust me, I'd be on here saying the same shit.
Derek Chisora,
I would be saying the same shit if he took a warm-up to take on Derek Chisora.
Listen, Derek Chisora was a voluntary title defense, but that was the little con that he made it was a tune-up. It was a tune-up, and it was a way to have a tune-up and make it as a fight.
Right, just like Dillian White would be a tune-up to take on a heavyweight champion.
Okay, and just like Derek Chisora is a tune-up for Alexander Usyk, who
100%. I agree. He was a tune-up.
Joshua didn't have no tune-up to go for Alexander Usyk. He didn't have a tune-up. But Tyson Fury, even in that negotiation for last year,
the name was Pulev. Pulev was
Pulev was a Mando.
No, that was a mandatory.
No.
Two things can be true. He was a tune-up.
We're going to talk with facts again, Maestro. Let's go back to the realms of facts, babes. You've got Shan on the panel. He was a mandatory. Pulev has been a mandatory on and off for AJ for the last few years. Pulev suffered injuries. Pulev did his rubbish, and he was being slippery, and he wanted this and he wanted that. He finally then had to fight Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua sparked him out, as we see. So no, he wasn't a voluntary like how Derek Warlord on his last Lord Chisora is. Okay, let's not equate it.
Most people thought Chisora lost to Pulev in the rematch. Most people thought Chisora actually got a gift in the Pulev rematch.
A lot of people. So like I said, keep the same energy. You've got Shannon.
Maestro, is there not a difference?
Like I said, I would keep the same. I would if
you got to.
If Usyk was fighting a warm up before fighting Dillian White, or if Fury was fighting a warm up before fighting Dillian
They're
White,
champions,
I'd
though,
be saying
Maestro.
trust me, I'd be saying the exact same shit.
But Maestro, they're champions, though. Joshua's not.
100%.
He's no longer a champion, so he can do what
he could do what he wants, just like how
he can do what he wants right now.
Deontay Wilder did what he wants and still does what he wants and has a statue made where everybody kisses his toes at the holy shrine. And same like Tyson Fury can do what he wants when he's been a champion and still done what he wants, and when he's not a champion, still done what he wants. Tyson Fury's always fought close fights. He's always had to do trilogies and rematches. Same thing with John McDermott. John McDermott got robbed the first time from Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury had to come the second time and spark him out. Steve Cunningham, we've seen it throughout the test of time. Listen, if Anthony Joshua's chinny, because this is what you guys say, guess who's been on the canvas more out of Anthony Joshua?
No, I never said Anthony Joshua's chinny. I don't say that. I don't say he's chinny.
Tyson Fury's been on the floor more times.
I don't say Anthony Joshua's chinny.
She's just talking it. Well, I can't say her. I think she mean in general.
I have said he has cardio issues, and he himself has said that. He himself has said that he gasses out in fights.
No, I'm not saying that you said that. I'm just addressing, like the stuff that you hear people talking. So I'm just here to I can one foul swoop just address it.
Fury's been on the floor nearly double the amount of Joshua. Yeah, it's been on the floor nearly double. Yeah, it's been on the floor nearly double. Joshua's been dropped, I think, 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, but he's also never been stopped.
No, Joshua's been dropped 5 times. Dropped 5 times by 2 fighters. Once by Klitschko and 4 times by Andy Ruiz. Tyson Fury's been dropped about 6 or 7 times by about 3 different fighters. So do the metrics on there. Deontay Wilder's been dropped a total of 9 times in his career by about 4 or 5 different fighters, and some of it.
I don't agree with it. Why would a contender?
And some of them didn't get counted as knockdowns.
Yeah, no.
Why would a contender?
Canvas, wouldn't he?
All right, so let me just go ahead, Jimmy.
No, bro, I was gonna say, see, with me, I strongly disagree with that. Anthony Joshua right now, whatever his star power is and whatever he was and his accomplishments, right now, Anthony Joshua is just another contender coming off of a loss, right? Tyson Fury is an undefeated heavyweight champion who most people have on the pound for pound list, who most people have #1 in the division. These guys aren't in the same position in their careers.
Right, and who is but I'm not the one. I'm not comparing Fury's next move to AJ. What I'm being put in a position to is to say that if Fury was in this position, that I would also be critical. I'm not comparing Fury's next move to AJ's next move. What I'm saying, let me bring in Modern King. Modern King, go for it.
Shouts out to King Ron the Don in the building.
That's my
What's up, Modern King?
No, it's my guy, not your guy, Maestro. You can't have him. He's my guy.
What's good? MaestroA boxing. How you doing today?
Technically share a name. Everybody calls us both MKB now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go for it, Modern King.
Yeah, right. What's good, What's good, Major Key Boxing?
Chilling, my brother. Happy New Year.
You know what, man? I think I said everything I wanted to say in the chat. I just feel like I liked that. I liked that article. You know, I thought the article was here. Yeah, I want to see who he fight, like his first fight, because I want to compare it to who Wilder fight. Like if he fight Andy Ruiz, or if AJ fight like somebody in the top 15. I want to see who their first fight are, and that'll probably set the year off for me. Like as far as just liking the heavyweight division again.
Yeah, but you've already seen who Wilder's first
Say that
fight.
again.
You've already seen who Wilder's just first fought. That was Robert Elanius, his sparring partner. So now it's AJ. Whoever AJ's going to fight, going to be better than Robert Elanius, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, but I think
that
he
was
meant
terrible,
the new
Lady
year.
Chan. I ain't gonna front. That was real terrible. Yeah, I mean like the new year though, but yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean his first fight back, New Year, same thing, you know. That was the connection they had. See, what I look at AJ as like y'all, like the ladies do, MaestroA. I just think that his last fight he looked it better. He was just frustrated that he lost on points, but I didn't feel like he was in that much danger where he could have not he was totally out the fight. Not like the first time he fought Usyk. So I still think AJ has like the momentum to be great. That's just the way I look at AJ, and he got a lot of experience. I think because He's fought a lot of champions. You know, granted, they were
so
champions that we didn't know about in America because we just look at Power Puncher.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, so based on what you just said, he shouldn't be needing a tune-up before taking on Dillian White.
And neither should Tyson Fury be taking a tune-up before
Yeah, I don't think
facing
it's,
Usyk. What's your point?
All right, but here's a situation.
He's a current champion and AJ's not.
You keep reverting back. You keep reverting back
because we're doing comparisons.
Right. So I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna finish what you're saying.
I don't like it because it proves my point and doesn't prove yours. But
So basically, what I'm gonna say is when it came to the Fury fight, right? Usyk was not available. Tyson, AJ by his own management team or promoters team name, wasn't available. So they went to a fight that would sell in the UK because there weren't really any other names that
what happened to Joe Joyce? Because Joe Joyce said he would have did it.
Joe Joyce had literally just fought a few weeks prior to that.
Yeah, he got told to fall back. He said he was.
I mean, Joe Joyce was not going to be taking a fight on 3 or 4 weeks' notice. I'm sorry.
It wasn't 3 or 4 weeks' notice. He said he'd be ready to fight in December. He's come out. I can pull it up for you and send you the link. He said
that would be great. That would be great if you could, because
I'll be ready.
Because Joe Joyce had literally fought Joseph Parker not that long before that fight.
What was the date that he fought Joseph Parker?
I can look it up now.
Please.
I agree with you, Maestro. I don't think he would have took the fight. You know, even though he knocked out Joseph Parker, it was a tough fight.
Parker versus Joyce was September the 25th.
Okay, yeah, like I was right. He said he'd be more than willing to fight 3 months later, like how AJ was supposed to fight, and they was trying to pressure AJ to fight 3 months later.
Right, so 3 months later would have been December the 25th.
Okay, so whatever. It would have still been in December, Maestro. Okay, so let's not play semantics. This is Shan yet again. Let me remind you on your panel. Yeah, you're going to have to be about 5 trajectories ahead of me to be a little bit smarter than me, and still then I'll still catch up and overtake.
Right. Okay. So how many weeks is a heavyweight training camp for a title? How many weeks is a training camp for a heavyweight title?
In September, coming out after the Parker fight.
Oh man, I would think like 12, right? Is it like 12 or 8? I'm not sure.
At least 10 at a minimum for a heavyweight title fight.
No, it's
at least 10.
We don't have to do nothing. Because
unless you're an AJ B-side opponent, then they'll bring you in on 2-3 weeks. Unless you're AJ B-side opponent, then they'll bring you in on 2-3 weeks notice, like they did with Andy Ruiz.
You know when people have to resort to name calling, it's because all their intelligence is left to build DAZN, and they feel that they're stripped out.
I'm calling you queen. I'm not name calling you.
Don't call me a queen because only kings can call me a queen, and I don't see you as a king.
I gotta bounce, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, Major Key, thank you.
Major man, salute.
Major.
All right, take care. All right, Major.
Take care, Major.
Bro.
I just need to finish off my little
Happy
bit.
New Year too, bro.
So after
Happy
the
New
Parker
Year's,
fight, Joe Joyce came out saying, I will be fully ready to fight Tyson Fury in December. But because guess what happened? A little birdie whispered in his ear, and then about a month later, Joe Joyce came out and said, it would have been too soon for me. So I've been promised that I could probably do the Tyson Fury fight next year summer. They quickly as soon as Joe Joyce slipped up saying that he was ready, they was like, oh no, we can't have Tyson Fury taking up a Joe Joyce fight. So they whispered in Joe Joyce's ear because I got the whole timeline. And I'm probably going to have to present it.
I would love it if you could present it or share it.
Sometimes you guys do your own homework. It's your fighters. I shouldn't be doing the heavy lifting. I'm Terence Crawford.
Well, all the heavyweights in the UK are the ones that's kind of being busy, though, ladies and so
even if December was an option, right?
It was an option.
December the 7th. If you're a heavyweight training for a heavyweight title fight.
Joe Joyce
you're not gonna do that on a 6-week training.
So why was Anthony Joshua? No, it wasn't a 6 week. What are you talking about?
What are you
talking about? It wasn't no 6 weeks.
Do the math.
You said he did the fight in September.
Right, and you're not gonna jump right back into a training camp. You're gonna need at least a week or 2 off.
You can have 1 week off.
Right, and then you're not counting the week. You're not counting the week of the fight because that's not part of the training.
No, nobody. Well, it is.
The commission.
No, it's not. No, it's not. They're barely doing any. That's not the week of the fight does not count for the training.
At the end of the day, they still wanted to get Joshua in when it was really close as well because they wanted to tie Joshua. At
Grab
the
her,
end of the
lady.
day,
Grab her, Lisa
at the end of
Bells.
the day,
Grab her.
at the end,
You have to take into account also the commission,
She's a
gives, the
grown
little
woman.
grace
I ain't
period
grabbing
between
nobody.
fights.
at the end of the day, Joe Joyce said
I
he
don't know
could do
what the
it.
commission
There was
in England
there
is.
was other level of opponents that Tyson Fury could have picked. The reason Tyson Fury picked fucking Derek Chisora, his old mate, he knew he could wash him, and he wanted to be comparable to Muhammad Ali by being a fighter that had 2 trilogies in his career.
Right. The main reason, though, Lady Chan, also is that he's a name in the UK that could sell more tickets than a guy like a Hergovich or a Najib Kabayel or somebody else. I mean, if they did Tyson Fury versus Lenier Pero, like that would not sell in the UK. Derek Chisora has a name in the UK. He sells tickets. That's the real reason.
Okay, well, if you're a star, guess what? Like Canelo fought Yildirim, he still sold out. Guess what? When Anthony Joshua fought any B-level fighter, guess what? It still sells out. That's what a true superstar is. Tyson Fury needs a dance partner to sell, so that's why his career is always going to be flawed, and his resume is always going to be thin because it depends who he can dance with to make money. A real superstar like Floyd Mayweather, he can fight anybody. He still makes money. It's still pay-per-view. It's still a blockbuster. It still beats all records. I rest my case. But Maestro, thank you for having me, babes. Massively appreciated.
Absolutely.
Happy to get to all of you guys on the panel and everybody in the chat.
Good to see you, Lady Chad. Good to see you.
And you guys.
All right.
I'll continue to
All
listen.
right.
See you
I'm
later.
gonna wrap it up soon because I actually got to be up at about 5:30 in the morning tomorrow. And it's already
All right, MaestroA box.
10:27.
All right.
So, but I do
Maestro,
appreciate
thanks for
everybody
having me.
coming on and defending their square. Literally, you guys are all squares on my screen. All right.
Yeah.
So appreciate that, guys, and we'll do it again hopefully.
All right, brother. Peace.
All right.
All right.
You all take care.
Peace.
Thank you,
Take it
Puro
easy.
Sul.
Take
Thank
care.
you, Lee. Thank you, Modern King Boxing.
Lisa,
Appreciate
Ron,
it.
peace.
You're welcome. Take care, Puro. Take care.
All right. So look, you heard it. People are defending AJ and his need to take a tune-up fight before the Dillian White fight. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't think that a guy of AJ's character, his stature in the sport, with his background, with his experience, a guy who's got championship aspirations, as far as we know, should really be taking on a tune-up before a Dillian White fight, which I consider to be a tune-up. But like I said, everybody's got their opinion. My opinion is that this ain't a good look for AJ. It isn't, but we'll see. I appreciate Lady Chan for coming on. Big up Modern King Boxing. Big up Lisa Bells. Big up Philly Drew Irish. All right, who was defending himself on the panel. Puro Sur. Did I have anybody else on? Jimmy as well. Thank you to Jimmy too. So that is it, guys. Subscribe, hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell because I am going to be going live for more punchlines more often. All right. You can also catch me here for Mano a Mano with my brother Kenny T. All right, this was Punchlines. Thank you so much, everyone.
Gorilla than the planet of the apes. I write a punchline and plant it on your face. Eat a punch that you ain't even got to taste. Here's a shot that you ain't even got to chase.